Namaste, खुश रहो बेटिया. I, JBN Varsha Singh from Jayoti Vidyapith Women's University. Our today's topic of the session is characteristics of grid system. In this session, we will cover characteristics of grid system and some other topics related to the grid computing like pros and cons and what is the benefit of grid computing and what is the elements of grid computing. Right. So the first characteristics of grid system is it coordinates resources which are not subordinated to a central authority and uses open standard protocols and interfaces. It provides not trivial qualities of services. Right. Here is the some other types of grid computing like computational grid computing, scavenging grid computing, which is desktop machine based, and data grid, data access across multiple organizations. So scavenging, scavenging grid computing, as you can see the picture, what does mean? It's used earlier in days. After that, computational grid computing is used, and some decade ago, data grid computing is used worldwide in over the uh, uh, organization. So here is the some pros and cons of grid computing. The benefit of grid computing is time saving, right? But cons is resource management is difficult. Resource saving, but security is a problem because data is remotely presented, and space saving, but schedule problem, who and when, who will use, when will he use. Money saving, right? How the grid computing works, it look like this type of infrastructure. There is an control node like hub, you can say, and other computers which is interlinked with each other and they can communicate with each other. So, grid computings are about large scale resource sharing spanning administrative boundaries, central processors, storage, network bandwidth, databases, application, sensor, and so on. They can share everything. Problem solving in dynamic, multi institutional environment. Organizing geographically distributed computing resources so that they can be flexibly and dynamically allocated and accessed. It providing such capabilities where sharing is a highly controlled, clear definitions of exactly what is shared, who is allowed to share, and the condition under which sharing occurs. Right? So you can see the diagram of the grid computing. Importance of grid computing: it is a flexible, secure, coordinated resource sharing. It virtualization of distributed computing resources, give worldwide access to a network of distributed resources. Grid requirement is your security, resource management, data management, information services, and fault detection and portability. Elements of grid computing like resource sharing, computer data storage, sensor, networks. Some other elements of grid computing is coordinated problem solving beyond client server, distributed data analysis, computation, collaboration. And the other dynamic multi-institutional virtual organization, community overlays on classic organization structure, large or small, static or dynamic. Science today is a team sport. Here is the grid application like the entropia system of peer to peer or mega computing. Right. The future of grid computing is the world will only need 5 computers attribute 640 kilobyte is all the memory you will ever need. It is um, it is said by Bill Gates, Microsoft CEO. The conclusion of this slide is grid computing is becoming the platform for next generation science experiments, and grid computing is cooperation of different computers for a specific task so that the user acquires better performance for that specific task. So guys, this is all about this session. Thank you. If any query regarding this session, please comment below. This digital session version 2.0 provided by Jayoti Vidyapith Women's University. Thank you.